Happy Friday to you. Our regularly scheduled programming Inspiration Week continues after a brief hiatus to talk about council meeting on Wednesday and the debrief yesterday. I want to talk to you about a small community in Ontario that so inspires me. And it's the kind of thing that we've been talking about with Inspiration Week with Macadam and Chemainus, BC. Communities that had a vision. And that was largely because of a small group of leaders. You know, I think about that quote, don't say that, I'm gonna butcher it here, but never think that a small group of citizens can't change the world. Indeed, it's the only thing that ever has. This is the kind of thing where a small idea exploded into such a beautiful asset for a community. So as I tell the story, I want you to listen for what is needed, what is at the heart of the story to make it possible. So in 2017, a large tract of old railway was purchased by Lanark County in Ontario. It was the old CP rail bed. And it's 296 kilometers of old rail bed. If you've been to, for example, PEI, that's more of a provincial thing, so I'm not kind of talking about that. But if you've been to PEI, all the old rail beds have become the Confederation Trail. And I spent the summer cycling some of that with my family last year. It is an example of how you can take something that used to be and revitalize it into something that can be a major asset. Now it connects the trail and hotels, and it's an absolute delight for PEI. So that's an example of rail beds. And in St. Stephen, we still have trains rumbling through, which is fantastic because, again, as we saw with Macadam, hey, trains are a huge asset to the community. I remember growing up in Ottawa, they ripped up all the train tracks, and it's considered one of the biggest boondoggle mistakes ever, economically speaking, because then they wanted to put rail lines in, light rail transit again, had to build tracks, tens of millions of dollars, a total debacle. So this is a case where this community had this old rail bed running right through town in Almonte, behind the library. It was the heart of downtown, but it was just like this kind of abandoned stretch. And so a few gentlemen in 2019, and I got them here, their names, because it's just a few guys who got together, had an idea when they walked by this major tract of land in downtown Almonte, just kind of empty lot, weeds and dirt. And it was a gentleman named Ken McRitchie, who's only identified in the articles that I've found as a local. Obviously so much more than that. Steve Brathwaite, who is an artist. Ron Ailing, and he was a forester and editor of the Forestry Chronicle. So these gentlemen had some development background, some gardening background, landscaping background, and they decided to pitch to council. I'm making a long story short here, but this is like early to mid 2019. Pitch to council the creation of an Alameda. Do you know what an Alameda is? I didn't before I discovered this, and neither did they when they, when you read the story about how they pitched this idea. So first they had to define what it was for their community. And Alameda is based on a Spanish word, which complemented the town of Almonte, which is a Spanish word to begin with. So they thought, this is perfect. It's a tree-lined trail or promenade. And kind of not like outside as lovely as that is, outside the city. This is typically a tree-lined promenade in a kind of developed urban residential area. And so they said, hey, let's take this old kind of eyesore rail bed, which is right in the heart of our community, and transform it. Now, council got on board, the vision started to get cast, the mayor got involved again, and I had a lot of fun digging up an old 2019 article that basically, because it's in 2019, it doesn't know how it's going to turn out. And I love getting a snapshot of a community that didn't know how something would turn out. It's basically saying, hey, this is a call, all hands on deck. Any residents interested, we are looking at privately funding this Alameda, and they literally pronounce it because, hey, and nobody reading that article knew what it was. And they said, we're looking for people to buy trees, about $200 per tree, sugar maples, Some people are purchasing them for their loved ones, or that businesses are getting involved. So what we want is, it's a 900-foot stretch. And there's kind of a map of the area, the downtown stretch where they wanted this to happen. And they said it's a 900-foot stretch. We want 90-ish trees planted. That's the vision, $200 a pop. Can we do this? It is time to try to get involved to make this happen. Well, fast forward a year later was the launch in 2020. So these gentlemen started to get this momentum going. And I just want to let you know, it was all, again, privately funded with the government, the municipal leaders on board. The county would be part of the Ottawa Valley Recreation Trail. Again, that 296K stretch that was purchased went right through Almonte. They said, let's make this a center point of this trail. And folks started to get involved. And the final numbers, I just pulled up an article. So you go from the 2019 article that says, hey, let's try this thing out. At the end of the day, $40,000 in community and business donations were given. So there they were at the beginning, just hoping for $200 per tree, 90-ish, 100 trees. And the grand total and going, so that's part of what I want to talk about, $40,000 in business and community donations, 180 residents, local individuals, got involved in making it happen. And at the end of the day, depending on which article you read, 94 was the original vision, 100 trees, 102 trees I saw. So somewhere around 100 trees on this 900-foot stretch. I saw the pictures of 2020 is when they launched it in the fall. And kind of like baby sugar maples, looked really nice. But if you look at the picture now, just 5 years later, it is absolutely gorgeous. It's beautiful. It's, again, in a very populated area of town. And I'm just pulling up the article here because another article that reviews how it is a centerpiece. So this beautification project, led by residents, privately funded, approved by the council, it became so much more than just 900 feet of tree-lined trail. Listen to this. Almonte, Alameda emerged as a hub of activity cherished by local residents. Benches for resting were installed. Bike racks were installed. Live edge picnic tables by local artisans were installed. A garden was planted alongside it with stones pulled from the earth during the replacement of infrastructure on the mill. A bust of a CBC under the umbrella tree was installed, so you got art popping up. ATVs shared the trail with pedestrians. Multiple interests and ages. The space was developed for all in community. The farmers market made that its home. Puppets Up, a marionette show, a Halloween pumpkin harvest, all have their events now along the Alameda. The youth center has events for the young with pizzas cooked in nearby outdoor ovens, movies on the Alameda lawn, powered by a new electric line, so they continue to add to it. Wooden sculptures by the school children formed a summer exhibit. It says 6 years on, the trees are reaching across the path to deliver that promised arch. Now, that is absolutely incredible. And that is, I just wanted to bring that to you as a term, by way of inspiration of what can happen. Just like a stretch of tree-lined trail, how it became an absolute hub of community activity, economic activity, and life for the community. And it did not exist 6 years ago. So what did you hear? What did it take? It took an eye for the future. So there need to be people in our community who are always saying, how can this be better? First of all, how can we make our community better? You really need that. And there's just too much talk, I think, in St. Stephen, frankly. I'm not wired this way to just be like, it's hard, this is really hard, there's difficulties, there's challenges, man, it's hard. Hey, every community has its challenges. We got a community here with a mill. We talked about Cheminas again, the sawmill closing. We talked about Macadam, when the rail lines, the shutdown of the passenger train via, I didn't really focus on that, but every town gets punched in the gut every now and then. but we need people who are saying, what's the future? And then what we need next is people looking around and saying, what do we have that can be transformed? So you kind of need, I guess a boring word would be like a kind of an asset inventory or something like that. But just this was a case of like, hey, that's a patch of land that we need to fix up and could be better. And they did that. So you need that. And then you really do need residents to be involved. You really need people to say, let's do this together. And our town, again, does have a lot of challenges. And people like to get on Facebook and just talk about how hard it is. But the success stories I'm hearing, whether it's Chemainus, whether it's Almonte, maybe another couple of examples in the days to come, it's us. It's the people who live there saying, we take pride in this place. We have an idea. When you see the amount of money that could come together, $40,000, and you know, I see this with Chase the Ace, which is great because that's money that gets distributed to incredible organizations. But we do have the resources. They exist in our community. In fact, I was blown away when I looked at the property tax value, how St. Stephen has something like $900 billion in property assets. That's the assessed property base. not municipally. I mean all of us. You know, I have a house. Maybe you have a house. That's a lot of wealth that we can, with a vision, start putting to work to make our space even better. So hopefully you're inspired by that. I certainly am. And ultimately, I want to be leading a council that is transparent and that is part of a town that you are proud of. We want to be proud of the municipality of St. Stephen, and sharing kind of an open action plan. These kinds of plans where we kind of reverse engineer them and say, where are we going? And it needs to be a plan that we all understand. And of course, as we talked about the last couple of days, you need to be accessing easily things that council is deciding. But we've seen how, like I said in the last couple of days, age-friendly community or quad NB, there are things that people are doing that we can get on board, and we can cast an even greater vision to permanently make this place as great as it can be. And never stop, because you see how something great can contribute to something even greater. And that's what I want to be a part of with you. All right, that's it. That's the end of today's Friday episode. See you tomorrow, Saturday. Coldest night of the year. I do want to talk a little bit about that major event here in St. Stephen. But until then, have a great day. Take care of yourself and your neighbor. And let's build up St. Stephen together. Cheers.